Maya Richardson Hartwell thought her story was over. 5 years after she inherited $5 billion, 5 years after she left her ex-husband, Marcus, destroyed in family court, and his mistress Vanessa fleeing the state in disgrace, 5 years after she'd built the most successful women's foundation in American history. She thought the chapter on Marcus was closed forever, but she was wrong. Because when her 6-year-old daughter Naomi stood at a podium in front of 500 of the city's most powerful people and said 7 words that would break the internet, "My daddy left my mama for money," everything Maya thought she knew about forgiveness, about justice, about protecting her daughter from the truth was about to be tested in ways that would leave Marcus on his knees, begging for something money could never buy. But what shattered every heart in that room wasn't just a 6-year-old's innocent honesty. It was what happened next. Because Marcus was in that audience. He'd bought a ticket under a fake name just to see his daughter from a distance, the daughter he'd abandoned, the daughter he hadn't been allowed to see in 5 years after violating the court's visitation terms. And when Naomi's words echoed through that ballroom, when she told the truth he'd spent 5 years running from, Marcus did something no one expected. He stood up, walked to the front, and said the 4 words that would either destroy him completely or give him the only chance at redemption he'd ever have. "She's right. I did." What Maya's father didn't predict when he left those letters, what Maya couldn't have imagined when she won that custody battle, was that 5 years later, Marcus would do something that would force her to make an impossible choice. Does she protect her daughter from a father who abandoned her? Or does she teach her daughter that people can change, that mercy sometimes looks like giving someone a second chance they absolutely don't deserve? And here's the part that'll leave you in tears. The choice Maya makes doesn't just change Marcus's life. It changes Vanessa's too. Because when Vanessa sees what happens at that gala, when she watches Marcus face his daughter for the first time in 5 years, she'll do something so shocking, so unexpected, that it'll prove Maya's father was right about one final thing. That real power isn't just about destroying your enemies. It's about being strong enough to let them destroy themselves, or courageous enough to watch them rebuild. So the question isn't just what happened 5 years after she inherited $5 billion, it's this. What does a mother do when her 6-year-old daughter asks why her daddy doesn't want her? How does a billionaire who's built her entire identity on protecting women teach her daughter about forgiveness without betraying everything she stands for? And what happens when the man who once told you you'd never be enough comes back broken, humble, and asking not for money, not for access to your empire, but for 5 minutes with the daughter whose entire life he missed? Because what happened at that gala didn't just change Marcus and Vanessa's lives forever. It showed the world what real strength looks like. And it's not what any of us expected. Listen, if you haven't watched parts 1 and 2 of this story, the links are in the description, and you need to watch them first, because what's about to happen will only make sense if you understand how we got here. But if you're caught up, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications, because this final part of Maya's story is going to show you what real forgiveness looks like. And it's nothing like what you think. Smash that like button if you believe people can change, but also believe they need to prove it. And comment below, have you ever had to decide whether to let someone who hurt you back into your life? Tell me what you chose and why. Because Maya's about to make the hardest choice of her life. The annual Richardson Hartwell Foundation Gala was the event of the year in philanthropic circles. 500 of the city's most powerful people gathered in the ballroom of the Grand Cascadia Hotel, dressed in tuxedos and evening gowns, sipping champagne that cost more per bottle than most people made in a week. But tonight wasn't about wealth. It was about impact. The foundation had just announced that in 5 years, they'd helped over 50,000 women and children across 20 cities, with a total investment of $800 million in programs that were changing lives. Maya stood backstage, watching through the curtain as the executive director gave the opening remarks, her hand resting on her daughter's shoulder. Naomi was 6 years old now, tall for her age, with her grandfather's intelligent eyes and her mother's gentle smile. She wore a simple blue dress. Maya's rule was that Naomi dressed like a normal child, not a billionaire heiress, and her hair was pulled back in 2 neat braids. "Mama, I'm nervous," Naomi whispered, clutching the index cards Maya had helped her prepare. "I know, baby, but you're going to do great. Just read what we wrote, nice and slow, and remember, everyone in that room is there because they believe in helping people. They're on your side." "What if I mess up?" Maya knelt down, eye level with her daughter. "Then you mess up and it's okay. Grandpa James used to tell me that the only real mistake is not trying at all, and you're trying. That makes you brave." Naomi nodded, taking a deep breath, and Maya felt her heart swell with pride and terror in equal measure. This was Naomi's idea. She'd asked if she could speak at the gala, tell people what the foundation meant to her. Maya had tried to talk her out of it, worried about the pressure, the scrutiny, the inevitable questions about her father that reporters loved to ask. But Naomi had insisted, and Maya had learned over 6 years of single motherhood, that sometimes the best thing you could do for your child was get out of their way and let them be brave. "And now," the executive director announced, "I'd like to introduce someone very special. She's 6 years old, she's the granddaughter of our founder James Hartwell, and she has something she wants to share with all of you. Please welcome Naomi Richardson Hartwell." The ballroom erupted in applause. Maya gave Naomi's hand one last squeeze, and her daughter walked onto that stage like she'd been born for it, her small frame dwarfed by the massive podium, but her presence somehow filling the entire room. Maya watched from the wings, her heart in her throat as Naomi adjusted the microphone and looked out at 500 strangers with more courage than most adults could muster. "Hi," Naomi said, her voice clear and strong. "My name is Naomi, and my grandpa James died before I was born, but my mama tells me about him all the time. She says he was a janitor at a school, and he worked really hard, and he loved helping people even when nobody knew he was doing it." The room was completely silent, captivated by this small girl with the big voice. "My mama started this foundation because my grandpa wanted to help mamas who were sad and scared and didn't have anybody to help them, like my mama was when I was born." Naomi glanced at her index cards, then back up. "My mama was really scared when I was a baby because my daddy left us. He left my mama for money." Maya's breath caught. That wasn't on the cards. That wasn't what they'd rehearsed. "She didn't tell me that," Naomi continued, her voice trembling slightly now. "I heard grown-ups talking about it at school. They said my daddy divorced my mama right after my grandpa died because he didn't know my grandpa was rich. And when he found out, he tried to take me away so he could have the money." Oh God, Maya started to move forward to stop this, to protect her daughter from saying things she couldn't take back, but Harold grabbed her arm gently. "Wait," he whispered, "let her finish." "I don't remember my daddy," Naomi said, and now there were tears in her eyes. "I've never met him. But my mama never says bad things about him. She just says that sometimes people make mistakes, and we have to decide if we want to be angry or if we want to be kind. And I think my mama is the kindest person in the whole world because she helps all these other mamas, even though she was sad too." Maya was crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. "So I just wanted to say thank you," Naomi finished. "Thank you for helping my mama help people. Because my grandpa James was right. The best treasure is a good heart, and my mama has the best heart." The applause was deafening. People were on their feet, some crying openly, moved by the raw honesty of a child who'd just told a truth that most adults would have hidden. But Maya wasn't watching the crowd. She was watching Naomi's face, seeing the relief and pride and something else. Question forming that Maya knew was coming eventually but wasn't ready to answer. And then everything stopped. Because a man stood up in the middle of the ballroom, a man Maya would have recognized anywhere, even though he looked nothing like he had 5 years ago. Thinner, older, worn down by life in ways that wealth used to protect him from. Marcus. He walked toward the stage slowly, and Maya's security team started to move, but she held up her hand. "Wait." Marcus stopped at the edge of the stage, looking up at Naomi, really looking at her for the first time in her entire life. "You're right," he said, his voice breaking. "I did. I left your mama for money, and it's the worst thing I've ever done. Not because of the money I lost, because of you, because I missed your whole life." The ballroom was so quiet you could hear people breathing. Naomi stared at this stranger, her 6-year-old mind trying to process what was happening. "Are you my daddy?" "I'm the man who should have been your daddy," Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. "But I wasn't. I was selfish and stupid, and I threw away everything that mattered. And I know I don't deserve to talk to you. I know I have no right to be here. But I heard you were speaking tonight, and I needed to see you. Even from far away, I needed to see the person I should have known." Maya was moving now, walking onto that stage, putting herself between Marcus and Naomi, every protective instinct screaming. "Security, please escort Mr. Richardson out of the building. Maya, please. You violated the court order. You're not allowed within 500 feet of Naomi. Leave, now." But Naomi's small hand grabbed Maya's arm. "Mama, wait." Maya looked down at her daughter, this beautiful, brilliant, brave little girl who was watching her father with curiosity instead of fear, with questions instead of anger. "Is he really my daddy?" Naomi asked quietly. Maya's throat closed up. She'd known this moment would come eventually, but not like this. Not in front of 500 people. Not with Marcus standing there broken and begging. "Biologically, yes," Maya managed. "But Naomi, this is complicated. This isn't the time." "I just want to say one thing," Marcus interrupted, his voice desperate. "Just one thing, and then I'll leave and never come back if that's what you want." Maya should have said no, should have had him removed, should have protected her daughter from this man who'd proven over and over that he couldn't be trusted. But something in his voice stopped her, something different than the Marcus she'd known, something broken, but real. 30 seconds, she said coldly. "Then you leave." Marcus knelt down, making himself smaller, less threatening, and looked at Naomi. "I was supposed to be at the hospital the night you were born. I was supposed to hold you first and tell you I loved you and promise to protect you forever. But I wasn't there. And every day since then, every single day for 6 years, I wake up knowing I missed it. I missed your first word, your first step, your first day of school. I missed everything, and I can't get that back. I can't fix what I broke." He pulled something from his pocket, a small, worn photograph. "But I want you to know that I think about you every day. This is a picture your mama posted online when you were 3 days old. It's the only picture I have of you. And I look at it every morning and every night, and I tell myself that maybe someday, if I can become someone worthy of you, maybe I'll get a chance to say I'm sorry. Not to ask for anything, just to say I'm sorry." He set the photograph on the edge of the stage and stood up. "Thank you for letting me say that. I'll go now." He turned to leave, and Naomi's voice rang out, "Wait." Everyone froze. Naomi looked at Maya. "Mama, can I ask him something?" Maya's heart was breaking. This wasn't fair. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. But she looked into her daughter's eyes and saw something that terrified her, hope. "One question," Maya whispered. Naomi turned to Marcus. "If you could have a do-over, would you stay with my mama?" The question hung in the air like a grenade. Marcus's face crumpled. "Yes, God, yes, I would stay. I would be there when you were born. I would change your diapers and wake up for night feedings and teach you to ride a bike. I would tell your mama she was enough every single day until she believed it. And I would never, ever leave." "But you did leave," Naomi said simply. "So why should I believe you now?" And there it was, 6 years old, and she'd asked the question that mattered more than any other. Marcus had no answer. He just stood there, stripped of every defense, every excuse, every justification, and said the only true thing he had left. "You shouldn't. I haven't earned that. I just wanted you to know that I see what I lost, and it wasn't the money, it was you." Maya made a decision that would change everything. "Naomi, go backstage with Uncle Harry, now." Naomi hesitated, then obeyed, leaving Maya and Marcus alone on that stage in front of 500 people. Maya walked to the edge of the stage and looked down at the man who'd destroyed her, abandoned her, tried to steal her child. And she said, "You're right. You don't deserve a second chance. You don't deserve to know her. But this isn't about what you deserve. It's about what she deserves. And what she deserves is the truth and the choice when she's old enough to make it. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave right now," Maya said, her voice carrying across the silent ballroom. "You're going to go home and you're going to write Naomi a letter. Not me, her. You're going to explain, in words a 6-year-old can understand, why you weren't there. You're going to be honest. You're going to take responsibility. And you're not going to make excuses or blame me or talk about the money. Just the truth." Marcus nodded, barely breathing. "Then you're going to mail that letter to my attorney. He'll review it. If it's appropriate, if it's honest, if it's truly about her and not about you, he'll give it to me. And I'll read it. And if I think it won't hurt her, I'll give it to Naomi. That's step 1. No guarantees, no promises, just a letter." "Okay," Marcus whispered. "What's step 2? "There is no step 2 until step 1 happens. And Marcus," Maya's voice turned to ice, "if you show up uninvited again, if you violate the court order again, if you do anything that makes me question whether you've actually changed or if this is just another manipulation, I will make sure you never get another chance. Do you understand me?" "Yes." "Then leave. And don't contact me directly. Everything goes through my attorney. Everything." Marcus took one last look at the stage where his daughter had been, nodded, and walked out of the ballroom. The doors closed behind him, and the room erupted into whispers. Maya stood there for a moment, shaking, then turned to find Harold and Naomi backstage. Her daughter was sitting in a chair, swinging her legs, looking smaller than she had on that stage. "Mama, are you mad at me?" Maya pulled her into a fierce hug. "No, baby, never. You were so brave tonight, so honest. I'm proud of you." "Is my daddy going to come back?" "I don't know. Maybe, if he does what I asked him to do." "Do you want him to come back?" Maya pulled back to look at Naomi's face, wiping away a tear from her daughter's cheek. "What I want doesn't matter as much as what you need, and I think you need to know the truth about who he is, good and bad. And then, when you're older, you can decide what kind of relationship you want with him, if any." "What if he hurts me like he hurt you?" Maya's heart shattered. "Then I'll be right there to protect you, always. That's what mamas do." That night, after the gala, after the press had been managed and the guests had left and Naomi was finally asleep, Maya sat in her study with Harold, a glass of wine she wasn't drinking in her hand. "You did the right thing," Harold said quietly. "Did I? I just gave the man who abandoned my daughter access to her. What if he hurts her? What if he disappoints her? What if—" "Maya, your father left you those letters because he trusted you to know when to show mercy and when to show strength. Tonight, you showed both. You set boundaries, clear ones, and you gave Naomi something more valuable than protection from disappointment. You gave her agency. The ability to know her own story and make her own choices about it. She's 6 years old. She's James Hartwell's granddaughter. She's stronger than you think." Maya wanted to believe that. She wanted to believe she hadn't just made a terrible mistake. The letter arrived 4 days later. Harold called Maya to his office, the envelope sitting on his desk like something dangerous. "I've read it," Harold said. It's good, Maya. It's honest. It's age-appropriate. And it doesn't ask for anything." Maya's hands shook as she opened it. The handwriting was careful, like Marcus had written it multiple times before settling on these exact words. "Dear Naomi, my name is Marcus, and I'm your father. I know that might feel strange to read because we've never met, even though you're 6 years old now. That's my fault. Not your mama's, not yours, mine. When you were about to be born, I made the worst decision of my life. I left your mama because I was scared and selfish, and I thought I wanted different things than what I had. I thought money and success and an easier life would make me happy. I was wrong about everything. Your mama was the best thing that ever happened to me, and I threw it away. And then I found out that your grandpa James, the one your mama tells you about, left your mama a lot of money. And instead of being happy for her, instead of wanting to help, I got greedy. I tried to take you away from your mama not because I wanted to be your dad, but because I thought it would give me access to money. I know that's hard to understand. It's hard for me to understand how I could have been that terrible. But I was. The judge said I couldn't see you because I hadn't earned the right. And he was correct. I haven't been there for any of your life. I don't know your favorite color or your favorite food or what makes you laugh. I don't know if you're afraid of the dark or if you like to read or what you want to be when you grow up. I don't know you, and that's the saddest thing in my whole life. I'm not writing this letter to ask you to forgive me or to see me. I'm writing it because your mama said you deserve the truth. So here's the truth. I wasn't a good man when you were born. I hurt your mama. I abandoned you, and I have to live with that forever. But I want you to know that even though I wasn't there, even though I made terrible choices, none of it was because of anything you did. You didn't do anything wrong. You were perfect. You are perfect. And if I could go back and do everything differently, I would. I hope someday, when you're older, maybe we can meet. Not because I deserve it, but because you deserve to know where you came from. Both the good parts and the bad parts. Your mama is the good part. I'm the bad part. But maybe if I work really hard and try to be better every day, maybe someday I can be a small good part too. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I hurt your mama, and I'm sorry you have a father who has to write you a letter instead of being able to tell you all of this while tucking you into bed at night. Love, Marcus. Maya read it 3 times, tears streaming down her face before she could speak. He didn't ask for anything. No, Harold agreed. He didn't. He just told the truth. What do you want to do? Maya folded the letter carefully. I want to give it to Naomi, and I want to see what she says. That night, after Naomi's bath, after they'd read 2 chapters of the book they were working through together, Maya sat on the edge of her daughter's bed and held out the envelope. Your father wrote you a letter. You don't have to read it if you don't want to, and if you do read it, you don't have to do anything about it. It's just information. Just the truth. What do you want to do? Naomi took the envelope carefully. Will you read it to me? Of course, baby. Maya read the letter aloud, watching her daughter's face, ready to stop at the first sign of distress. But Naomi just listened, her expression serious and thoughtful beyond her years. When Maya finished, Naomi was quiet for a long moment. He said he was sorry, she finally said. He did. Do you think he means it? Maya chose her words carefully. I think he means it right now. Whether he means it enough to actually be different, to actually be a good father, that's something only time will tell. Mama, can I ask you something hard? Always. Do you still love him? Maya's breath caught. No, baby, I don't. I did once, very much. But he hurt me too badly and I healed, and that love went away. What I feel now is, I hope he's sincere. I hope he's changed, not for me, but for you. Because you deserve a father who shows up. Do you think I should meet him? Do you want to? Naomi thought about it with the seriousness of someone much older. I'm curious. I want to know what he looks like up close, and I want to ask him questions. But I'm also a little bit scared. Scared of what? Scared that I'll like him, and then he'll leave again. Like he left you. Maya pulled Naomi close, breathing in the scent of her daughter's strawberry shampoo, feeling the weight of this impossible responsibility. That's a very smart thing to be scared of, and I can't promise he won't disappoint you, but I can promise that if he does, I'll be right there, and you'll still have me and Uncle Harry and all the people who've loved you since the day you were born. He can't take that away. Naomi nodded against Maya's chest. Okay, I want to meet him, but just for a little bit, like a practice. Maya smiled through her tears. Like a practice? I can arrange that. 2 weeks later, Marcus sat in a conference room at Hartwell & Associates, his hands clasped so tightly his knuckles were white. Maya sat across from him, Harold beside her, and a child psychologist named Dr. Sarah Chen sat at the head of the table. Mr. Richardson, Dr. Chen said gently, I've been working with Naomi to prepare her for this meeting. She's nervous but curious. I'm going to lay out some ground rules, and if you can't follow them, this meeting ends immediately. I'll follow any rules you give me, Marcus said. First, this is a 30-minute supervised visit. Maya will be in the room the entire time. You don't touch Naomi unless she initiates it. No hugging, no hand-holding, nothing. You let her come to you if she chooses to. Understood. Second, you don't make promises you can't keep. Don't tell her you'll be there for her birthday unless you've cleared it with Maya first. Don't promise to take her to Disney World. Don't promise anything. Just be honest. Okay. Third, if she asks you a hard question, you answer it honestly but age-appropriately. No lying to make yourself look better. She's 6, but she's perceptive. She'll know if you're being fake. Marcus nodded, his throat tight. And finally, Dr. Chen continued, this is about her, not about you. You don't use this time to apologize to Maya. You don't talk about the past except to answer Naomi's questions. You focus entirely on getting to know your daughter. Can you do that? Yes. Dr. Chen looked at Maya. Are you ready? Maya wanted to say no, wanted to grab Naomi and run, wanted to protect her from any possibility of disappointment, but she'd made her choice. Bring her in. The door opened and Naomi walked in holding a stuffed elephant, her comfort object since she was 2. She looked so small, so vulnerable, and Maya had to fight the urge to scoop her up and end this before it started. Naomi looked at Marcus, really looked at him, and Marcus looked back at his daughter with an expression of such raw pain and longing that even Maya felt it. Hi, Naomi said quietly. Hi, Marcus whispered. Thank you for agreeing to meet me. Naomi sat down next to Maya, still clutching her elephant. You look different than I thought you would. Different how? Sadder. Marcus let out a breath that was almost a laugh. Yeah, I'm pretty sad. I've been sad for a long time. Because of what you did? Yes. Naomi swung her legs, thinking. What's your favorite color? The question was so unexpected, so perfectly Naomi, that Marcus actually smiled. Blue, like the ocean. What's yours? Purple, and also yellow. I can't decide. She paused. Do you have any pets? No? Do you want one? Naomi glanced at Maya. Mama says maybe when I'm older and can help take care of it. That's smart. Pets are a big responsibility. They sat in awkward silence for a moment. Then Naomi asked the question that made everyone in the room hold their breath. Why did you leave my mama? Marcus looked at Dr. Chen, who nodded. Truth. Because I was scared and stupid, Marcus said carefully. Your grandpa James was very sick, And your mama was sad, and you were about to be born, and I felt like everything was too hard. Instead of being brave and staying, I ran away, and I convinced myself I was running toward something better. But I was wrong. There was nothing better. I just made everything worse. Did you love my mama? I did, very much. But I didn't love her the right way. I didn't love her enough to stay when things got hard. And that's the worst kind of failing. Naomi processed this. Do you love me? Maya's heart stopped. Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I don't know you well enough to say that in a way that means anything, but I want to know you. I want to earn the right to love you, if you'll let me. That's honest, Naomi said, nodding like a tiny adult. I like honesty. They talked for the remaining 20 minutes. About school, about Naomi's favorite books, about what Marcus did for work now. He managed a small hardware store, nothing glamorous, barely making ends meet. It was awkward and halting and full of silences, but it was also real. When Dr. Chen said time was up, Naomi stood to leave, then paused. Can I ask you one more thing? Anything. If we do this again, will you actually show up, or will you leave like you left before? Marcus looked at Maya, then back at Naomi. I'll show up, I promise. And if I can't for some reason, I'll tell you why ahead of time. I won't just disappear. Okay. Naomi walked toward the door, then turned back. You're not as scary as I thought you'd be. After she left, Marcus sat there shaking. Thank you, he said to Maya. I know I don't deserve that. Thank you. Maya stood, gathering her things. I didn't do it for you, I did it for her. And Marcus, you made a promise to a 6-year-old. If you break it, if you disappoint her, if you prove that you haven't actually changed, I will make sure you never get another chance. Are we clear? Crystal clear. Maya left him sitting there, probably crying, probably realizing what he'd lost and what he was trying to get back. Over the next 6 months, Marcus showed up. Once a month, supervised visits, 30 minutes each, always on time, always prepared, always focused entirely on Naomi. He didn't ask for more time, didn't push for unsupervised visits, didn't complain about the restrictions. He just showed up. And slowly, impossibly, Naomi started to warm to him, started to ask when the next visit was, started to call him Marcus instead of that man or my father. Maya watched it happen with a mixture of relief and terror, relief that Naomi was getting to know her father, terror that he'd eventually revert to who he was and break her daughter's heart. But on the day of Naomi's 7th birthday, something happened that changed everything. A package arrived at Maya's brownstone, not from Marcus. The return address was from a women's shelter in Cleveland, Ohio. Inside was a letter, and it was from Vanessa Chen. Maya's hands shook as she opened it, expecting poison, expecting one last attack, expecting anything but what she found. Dear Maya, I don't expect you to read this. I don't expect you to care. But I'm writing it anyway because my therapist says that making amends is part of healing, even when those amends aren't accepted. I destroyed your life. I helped Marcus destroy your life. I whispered finally when your father died. I testified against you in court. I tried to ruin you with fake evidence, and for 5 years, I've been living with the consequences of those choices. I lost my career, my reputation, my financial stability. I declared bankruptcy. I moved across the country to escape the scandal. And for a long time, I blamed you. I told myself you were the villain, that you'd somehow won unfairly, that if you'd just shared your money, none of this would have happened. But I was lying to myself. You didn't do anything to me. I did it to myself. I'm writing this from a women's shelter where I've been living for the past 3 months. I lost my apartment, lost my job again, hit rock bottom in ways I never imagined possible. And you want to know the most ironic part? The shelter I'm staying in is funded by your foundation, the Richardson Hartwell Foundation, your father's legacy, the counseling I'm receiving, the job training, the second chance I'm getting. It's all because of you. The woman I tried to destroy is the reason I have hope right now. I don't deserve your forgiveness. I don't even want it, because I don't think I could handle the weight of your mercy. But I wanted you to know that I finally understand what your father was trying to teach you, what you've been showing the world through your foundation. That real power isn't crushing your enemies. It's being strong enough to help them even after they've tried to hurt you. I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to be better. Not for you, for me. And for all the people I hurt by being who I was. Thank you for giving me a second chance, even though you had no reason to. I'll never contact you again. This is goodbye. But I wanted you to know that the villain in your story is trying to write a better ending for herself. And it's because you showed her it's possible. Vanessa. Maya read the letter 3 times before she showed it to Harold. What do you want to do with this? He asked. Maya thought about it for a long time. Then she did something that surprised even herself. She wrote back. Maya's response to Vanessa was simple, just 3 sentences on Richardson Hartwell Foundation letterhead. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm glad you're healing. That's what the foundation is for. Second chances for people brave enough to take them. She didn't expect to hear from Vanessa again, and she didn't. But knowing that even her enemy had found refuge in something her father had made possible, something Maya had built from grief and pain and determination, that gave her a peace she hadn't known she needed. Naomi's 7th birthday fell on a Saturday in late spring, and Maya had planned a modest party at their brownstone. 15 kids from school, pizza, a bounce house in the backyard, and a cake shaped like a unicorn because Naomi was currently obsessed with all things magical. Nothing extravagant, nothing that screamed billionaire heiress, just a normal 7-year-old's birthday party. Marcus had asked through Harold if he could attend. Not as a guest, just to drop off a present and say happy birthday. Maya had consulted Naomi, and her daughter had surprised her by saying yes. So, at 2 p.m., in the middle of the party chaos, kids screaming in the bounce house, parents making small talk over coffee, Naomi's face painted like a butterfly, Marcus arrived at the door carrying a small wrapped box and looking terrified. Maya opened the door, and they stood there for a moment. These 2 people who'd once promised to love each other forever and had broken that promise in the most devastating ways possible. Thank you for letting me come, Marcus said quietly. 15 minutes, Maya replied. You give her the present, you sing happy birthday if she wants you to, and then you leave. Clear? Clear. She let him in, and Naomi spotted him immediately. Her face lit up in a way that made Maya's chest ache. Her daughter was happy to see her father. After everything, despite everything, that little girl was glad he came. Marcus, Naomi ran over, still cautious enough not to hug him, but close enough that Maya could see the connection forming. You came! I promised I would. Happy birthday, Naomi. He handed her the small box. I hope you like it. Naomi tore open the wrapping paper with the enthusiasm of a 7-year-old and pulled out a music box, simple hand-carved wood, with a ballerina that spun when you opened it. But what made Maya's breath catch was the song it played, the same lullaby her father used to hum to her, the same one that had played from the music box he'd left her. How did you? Maya started. I asked Harold what song your father used to sing to you, Marcus said softly. I thought maybe Naomi would want to have that connection to her grandfather. I had it custom made. Naomi wound the key and watched the ballerina spin, enchanted. It's so pretty. Mama, look. Maya looked, and she saw something she'd never expected to see, Marcus making an effort not to buy Naomi's love with expensive gifts, but to give her something meaningful, something that connected her to the family legacy he'd almost destroyed. Thank you, Maya said quietly. That was thoughtful. The kids pulled Naomi back to the bounce house, and Marcus stood awkwardly in the foyer, not quite belonging, but not quite a stranger either. You've done this every month for 6 months, Maya said. Shown up, been honest, followed the rules. Dr. Chen says Naomi is responding well to the visits, so I'm going to offer you something, and you can say yes or no, but if you say yes, you need to understand what you're committing to. Marcus's whole body went still. I'm listening. Supervised visits are working, but they're artificial. Naomi needs to see who you really are, not who you are in a conference room for 30 minutes once a month, so I'm willing to extend the visits. 2 hours, once a month, at a public place of my choosing. A park, a museum, somewhere Naomi can be herself. Still supervised, but with more room to actually build a relationship. Yes, Marcus said immediately. Yes, absolutely. I'm not finished. If you say yes to this, you're committing to showing up not just when it's convenient, but when it's hard. If Naomi has a bad day and doesn't want to talk, you sit with that. If she asks you hard questions, you answer them. If she needs you to just be present without performing, you do that. This isn't about you proving you're a good dad. It's about you actually being one, even in the messy parts. Can you do that? Marcus's eyes filled with tears. I can try. That's all I can promise, that I'll try every single time. Then we'll try, starting next month. Over the next year, something impossible happened. Marcus didn't just show up, he showed up fully. When Naomi didn't want to talk and just wanted to swing in silence at the park, he pushed her swing without needing her to entertain him. When she asked why he'd left her mama, he told her the truth without sugarcoating but without traumatizing her. When she had a rough day at school and didn't want to see anyone, he texted Maya asking if she was okay and if there was anything he could do to help, even from a distance. He wasn't perfect. He made mistakes. He sometimes tried too hard or asked questions that were too personal too fast, but when Maya or Dr. Chen corrected him, he listened. He adjusted. He learned. And Maya watched, suspicious at first, waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for him to prove that people don't really change. But the shoe never dropped. On Naomi's 8th birthday, Marcus asked if he could take her to the zoo, just the two of them, unsupervised, for 3 hours. Maya's first instinct was to say, absolutely not. But Dr. Chen thought it was time. And Naomi wanted to go. So Maya said yes, with conditions. Marcus would check in every hour, they'd stay in public places, and he'd have her back by 4 p.m. sharp. Those 3 hours were the longest of Maya's life. She paced her brownstone, checked her phone obsessively, imagined every possible disaster. Harold came over to keep her company, mostly to keep her from driving to the zoo and hovering. "You're going to have to trust him eventually," Harold said gently. "I don't trust him. I trust Dr. Chen's judgment. I trust Naomi's instincts. But him? No, not yet." "Then when?" Maya didn't have an answer. At 3:58 p.m., Marcus's car pulled up outside. Maya watched through the window as he opened the back door and Naomi climbed out, clutching a stuffed penguin and chattering excitedly. He walked her to the door, looking relaxed in a way Maya had never seen him, like being a father was finally becoming natural instead of terrifying. Maya opened the door and Naomi rushed in. Mama, we saw penguins, and Marcus let me feed the giraffes, and we got ice cream even though he knows I'm not supposed to have sugar before dinner. But he said it was a special occasion because I got an A on my spelling test." Maya looked at Marcus, one eyebrow raised. I know, he said sheepishly. "Ice cream was a mistake. She's going to be bouncing off walls tonight. I'm sorry." But he was smiling, and Naomi was happy. And for the first time in 8 years, Maya felt something she'd never expected to feel about Marcus: gratitude. "Thank you for bringing her home on time," Maya said. "I promised. I'm trying to keep my promises now." After Naomi had been bathed and settled with a book, Maya found herself doing something she'd sworn she'd never do. She called Marcus. "Is everything okay? Is Naomi all right?" His voice was immediately panicked. "She's fine. I wanted to say something, and I didn't want to say it in front of her." "Okay?" Maya took a breath. "You've been showing up for over a year now. You haven't missed a single visit. You haven't made excuses. You've respected every boundary. You've put Naomi first even when I know it's been hard, and I need to acknowledge that. You're not the man you were 8 years ago." There was silence on the other end. Then, "Thank you. That means more than you know. I'm not saying I forgive you. I'm not saying we're friends. And I'm definitely not saying I trust you completely. But I'm saying I see the effort. And for Naomi's sake, I'm grateful for it. Maya, can I ask you something? Depends on the question. Do you think there will ever be a day when I'm allowed to just be her dad? Not supervised, not conditional, just her dad?" Maya thought about it carefully. "I think if you keep showing up, if you keep doing the work, if you prove over years, not months, Marcus, years, that this is who you are now, then maybe. But that's Naomi's decision as much as mine. When she's old enough, she gets to choose what kind of relationship she wants with you. That's fair. More than fair. And Marcus, the reason I'm even considering this, the reason I let you back into her life at all, isn't because you deserve it. It's because my father taught me something important. He taught me that mercy isn't about the person who wronged you. It's about who you want to be. And I want to be someone who gives people a chance to be better, even when they don't deserve it." 3 years later, on Naomi's 11th birthday, Maya did something that shocked everyone who knew her story. She invited Marcus to Naomi's birthday dinner, not as a visitor, not as a supervised guest, but as her father. He sat at the table in Maya's dining room, next to Naomi, who'd asked if he could come, and they ate pasta and laughed at Naomi's terrible jokes, and for 2 hours, they looked almost like a family. Not the family they could have been. That family was gone, destroyed by choices that couldn't be unmade. But a different family. A complicated one built on honesty and boundaries and hard-won trust instead of romance and promises. After dinner, while Naomi was opening presents in the living room, Marcus found Maya in the kitchen. "I know this doesn't fix anything," he said quietly. "I know I can never get back what I threw away. But I want you to know that being here tonight, being allowed to be part of her life even in this small way, it's more than I ever thought I'd get. So thank you." Maya dried her hands on a dish towel and looked at this man who'd once been her husband, who'd once destroyed her, who'd spent the last 4 years slowly, painfully, proving that people can change if they want to badly enough. "You're welcome. But Marcus, I need you to understand something. This isn't forgiveness. I don't know if I'll ever truly forgive you for what you did, but it's something else. It's acceptance. Acceptance that you're Naomi's father, and she deserves to have you in her life if you're going to be good for her. And so far, you have been. That's all I can ask for. No. You can ask to keep showing up, keep being honest, keep putting her first. That's what you can ask for. And if you do that, then maybe someday, years from now, Naomi will tell her own children about her grandfather James, who taught her mama about real wealth, and about her father Marcus, who learned what it means to actually be a dad. Not perfect, but present. From the living room, Naomi's voice rang out. "Mama, Marcus, come see what Uncle Harry got me." They walked back together, not as partners, not as friends, but as two imperfect people doing their best to raise an extraordinary child. On what would have been her father's 70th birthday, Maya took Naomi to visit his grave. Her daughter was 12 now, asking harder questions, understanding more of the complicated truth about her family. "Mama, do you think Grandpa James would be proud of you?" Naomi asked as they placed yellow roses on his headstone. "I hope so. I think so. I've tried to honor what he taught me." "What about proud of Marcus? Do you think he'd be proud that Marcus changed?" Maya thought about it carefully. I think your grandfather would be proud that Marcus tried. That's what he always said mattered most, not being perfect, but trying to be better. Do you think people can really change? Like, really truly change deep down? I think some people can, not everyone. Some people talk about changing but never do the work. But your father did the work. He went to therapy. He faced what he'd done. He showed up even when it was hard. That's real change. Do you think you'll ever love him again? The question caught Maya off guard. "No, sweetheart, that door is closed, but I can respect him. I can appreciate the father he's become for you, and I can be grateful that he's given you something I never had, a chance to know both your parents." Naomi nodded, processing. "I think I'm glad you let him try, even though he messed up really bad at first." "Me too, baby. Me too." That night, Maya sat in her study looking at the letter her father had written over 12 years ago. The one that said, "Show no mercy." She finally understood what he meant. Not that she should be cruel, not that she should never forgive, but that she should show no mercy to the voice that said she had to accept less than she deserved. No mercy to people who refused to change. No mercy to the idea that being strong meant being hard. Real strength, she'd learned, was being soft enough to bend without breaking, firm enough to hold boundaries while leaving space for grace, wise enough to know the difference between someone who was trying to manipulate her and someone who was genuinely trying to transform. Marcus would never be her partner again, would never be fully trusted again, would always carry the weight of what he'd done. But he was Naomi's father, and he was trying, and sometimes trying was enough. Maya's phone buzzed, a text from the foundation. "Just helped our 100,000th woman and child. Your father's legacy has touched 6 figures worth of lives. Thought you'd want to know." She looked at the photo on her desk, her father in his janitor's uniform, holding infant Maya, both of them laughing at something long forgotten. "We did it, Daddy," she whispered. "We showed them what real wealth looks like. Not the money, the lives, the second chances, the proof that people can survive betrayal and come out stronger. The proof that your daughter was never poor, never alone, never powerless. Just like you promised." From upstairs, she heard Naomi laughing at something on her phone, probably texting with friends, living the normal preteen life Maya had worked so hard to give her, despite the billions in trust funds and the complicated family history. And Maya smiled. Because this ordinary evening in an extraordinary life, built from the ashes of the worst betrayal she'd ever known, this was the real revenge. Not that Marcus had suffered, though he had. Not that Vanessa had faced consequences, though she had. But that Maya had taken her father's final gift and turned it into something that outlived all of them. A foundation that would help women and children for generations. A daughter who knew her worth had nothing to do with her bank account. A life so full of purpose and meaning that the people who'd tried to destroy her had become footnotes in a much larger story. The story of a woman who inherited $5 billion and used it to prove that the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's becoming so powerful, so purposeful, so whole that your enemy's opinions become irrelevant, their regrets become their own prison, and their attempts to hurt you become the very thing that launches you into your destiny. Marcus and Vanessa had tried to take everything from her. Instead, they'd given her the freedom to become who she was always meant to be. And that was the greatest victory of all. Final emotional CTA. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this. Have you ever given someone a second chance they didn't deserve and watched them actually change? Or have you ever been the person who needed that second chance, who needed someone to believe you could be better? Drop your story in the comments right now. Because Maya's story proves that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let people prove they've changed, not because they've earned it, but because you're strong enough to hold boundaries while giving grace. And here's the bigger question. If you were Maya, could you have done it? Could you have let Marcus back into your daughter's life after everything he did? Be honest. Tell me in the comments. Would you have shown mercy, or would you have kept that door closed forever? There's no wrong answer. I just want to hear your truth. Now, where are you watching this from? And more importantly, did you watch all 3 parts? Drop your location and which part hit you the hardest in the comments. Are you in Lagos crying at 3 a.m.? In London watching this on your lunch break? In New York remembering your own story of betrayal and redemption? Tell me. Let's build a community of people who believe that hurt people don't have to stay hurt people. If you watched all 3 parts of Maya's story and you're sitting there with tears streaming down your face, understanding that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, that boundaries can coexist with grace, that real wealth is measured in lives changed and not dollars earned, then you need to do 3 things right now. First, hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Because I post stories like this every single week. Stories about karma, justice, redemption, and people who thought they'd lost everything, discovering they had everything they needed inside them all along. Second, smash that like button if you believe people can change when they do the actual work. Not just talk about it, not just apologize, but show up day after day, year after year, and prove it through actions. And third, this is important, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Someone going through a divorce, someone dealing with a difficult co-parenting situation, someone who's been betrayed and doesn't know if they'll ever heal, someone who made terrible mistakes and is trying to be better. Share it. Let them know they're not alone, because that's what Maya's father taught her and what she taught Naomi, and what I hope you'll take from this story. You are never alone. You are never defined by what others did to you. You are never powerless. You just might not know it yet. Thanks for watching all 3 parts. Thanks for going on this journey with Maya from her lowest moment to her greatest triumph. And remember, the people who underestimate you, who abandon you, who think you'll crumble without them, they're not your enemy. They're your liberation. Because when they leave, they make room for you to become who you were always meant to be. Now go build something beautiful from your pain. Just like Maya did, just like her father knew she would, just like you can too.
Thank you for listening to this story until the end. Hopefully every moment, every detail in the story has brought you emotions, thoughts, and maybe a little joy or motivation. Thank you for spending time with us, and hope that the next stories will continue to accompany you and touch your heart.